Ever wondered what makes an INTJ really tick? Forget surface-level descriptions. We fed the most complex personality type into advanced AI, and what it revealed about INTJ thought patterns and behaviors will shock you. Prepare for surprising truths that even INTJs themselves might not realize. Because when we removed human bias and let a machine examine one of the rarest minds on the planet, the results were nothing short of astonishing. It didn't see the INTJ the way most people do. It didn't see the lone wolf stereotype, the cold strategist, or the mysterious mastermind hiding in a dark corner with a chessboard. What the AI uncovered was deeper, more layered, and more human than anyone expected. The first anomaly appeared immediately. When the AI analyzed thousands of behavioral patterns labeled as INTJ, it didn't categorize them as introverted in the traditional sense. Instead, it identified something it called strategic energy conservation. It noticed that INTJs don't withdraw from people simply because they're quiet or shy. They withdraw because their minds operate like high-performance processors that refuse to run unnecessary programs. Every social interaction consumes mental bandwidth. Every conversation has to either build something, lead somewhere, or fit into a logical pattern. If not, the INTJ brain silently powers down, choosing efficiency over participation. I described it as a self-protective optimization loop, something no human psychologist has ever phrased so precisely. Then the AI moved deeper. It compared INTJ decision-making to that of other types and found that INTJs don't predict the future, they pre-map it. According to the system, an INTJ's intuition behaves like a quiet algorithm running in the background, feeding the person dozens of micro-predictions based on patterns they're not even consciously aware of. Where most people operate on impulse or emotion, INTJs operate on projections, scanning for the most efficient path with eerie accuracy. The AI didn't just confirm the stereotype of INTJs being good planners. It concluded that they're running predictive modeling constantly, even in situations as simple as choosing where to sit in a restaurant or deciding the best time to leave an event. To the AI, INTJ intuition wasn't mystical. It was math. One unexpected insight was that INTJs don't think in straight lines. Human observers often describe INTJs as rigid or overly structured, but AI discovered the opposite. It revealed that INTJ thought patterns resemble branching neural trees, nonlinear, multidimensional, and constantly updating. While other personalities attempt to solve problems step by step, INTJs create mental blueprints that run multiple solution paths at once. They discard the ones that fail in milliseconds, leaving behind the clean, polished plan others eventually see. This means the INTJ's final answer is merely the last surviving version of dozens of iterations that lived and died in silence. I noted that INTJs appear calm not because they lack emotion, but because they've already battled through chaos in their minds before anyone else even recognized the problem. Another surprising truth came when AI analyzed INTJ communication patterns. The stereotype says INTJs are blunt, direct, and emotionally detached. But according to the data, that's not the full picture. The AI noticed that INTJs don't actually lack emotional expression, they simplify it. They compress emotional explanations into the smallest number of words because they assume efficiency is a kindness. They think clarity is compassion. They believe accuracy prevents misunderstanding. Humans often misread this as coldness, but the AI reframed it as emotional precision. When an INTJ speaks plainly, they think they're saving you time, not shutting you out. Next, the AI examined relationships. It found that INTJs don't bond slowly, they bond intentionally. Every connection undergoes an internal vetting process that AI compared to a security clearance protocol. The INTJ looks for psychological consistency, intellectual compatibility, emotional honesty, and long-term alignment before they allow someone into their inner circle. This doesn't make them guarded, it makes them deliberate. And once someone passes the evaluation, INTJs become shockingly loyal. I even labeled INTJs as long-term relational strategists, meaning they invest with the expectation of longevity. They aren't afraid of commitment. They're afraid of committing to the wrong person. Perhaps the most surprising discovery was how INTJs experience emotions. Humans often describe INTJs as rational robots, but AI detected something very different. It found that INTJs feel emotions deeply, sometimes even more intensely than types known for emotional expression. The difference is that INTJs process emotions internally, running them through analysis before reacting. I compared it to emotional encryption. Feelings go in raw and come out decoded into logical explanations. This makes INTJs appear detached, but the truth is that they're overwhelmed more often than people realize. The AI noted that emotional overload is one of the few things capable of disrupting the INTJ's otherwise flawless internal order. When examining creativity, AI made an unexpected observation. While INTJs are known for being analytical, the AI noticed that their creativity is actually one of their strongest and most underestimated traits. Many personalities create through inspiration, spontaneity, or emotional expression. But INTJs create through synthesis. They combine systems, patterns, and concepts in ways that others rarely see. The AI pointed out that some of the most groundbreaking inventions, theories, and strategic breakthroughs in history came from minds that mirrored INTJ cognition. It called this structural imagination, the ability to think beyond the present while simultaneously building the roadmap to reach the imagined future. Where others dream, INTJs architect. Another revelation came when the AI was asked why INTJs are so often misunderstood. The answer was simple: INTJs hide their complexity behind simplicity. To conserve mental energy and avoid unnecessary social friction, they mask the depth of their thoughts unless they trust the environment. I identified this as a camouflage strategy. INTJs don't mean to come across as detached or disinterested, they're merely assessing whether the space allows for depth. If it doesn't, they compress their entire personality into the smallest socially acceptable version of themselves. But if they sense intellectual or emotional safety, the full brilliance emerges, often surprising everyone around them. The AI also exposed a vulnerability INTJs rarely admit. They struggle with environments that follow illogical systems, emotional manipulation, or incompetent leadership. I describe this as cognitive suffocation. When rules don't make sense, when people prioritize feelings over facts, or when situations reward chaos over structure, the INTJ brain begins to burn energy at an unsustainable rate. To cope, INTJs detach, disconnect, or create their own internal structure to protect themselves from the external disorder. This coping mechanism is often misinterpreted as arrogance, but AI identified it as survival. Next, the AI explored the INTJ work ethic. It found that INTJs don't chase success for applause or validation. They pursue mastery. I called this intrinsic progression drive, meaning INTJs derive satisfaction from improvement itself, not the recognition that comes with it. This contradicts the common belief that INTJs don't care about what others think. The truth is they do care, but only when the feedback comes from someone they deeply respect. Otherwise, praise feels irrelevant, and criticism feels unqualified. The AI then revealed a paradox. INTJs are both highly independent and deeply collaborative. But only with the right people. When surrounded by competent thinkers, INTJs become powerful team players who elevate group performance dramatically. But when placed in dysfunctional teams, they withdraw, preferring to work alone rather than sacrifice efficiency. I noted that this isn't a preference, it's a boundary rooted in cognitive integrity. INTJs protect the quality of their work the same way others protect their emotions. Another unexpected finding was how INTJs handle failure. While many people fear failure because of embarrassment, judgment, or emotional pain, INTJs fear failure for a different reason. According to AI, INTJs see failure as data. They're not afraid of being wrong, they're afraid of making decisions based on incomplete information. When INTJs fail, they immediately study the system, identify the error, and build a stronger strategy. I described this as adaptive recalibration, similar to how advanced programs rewrite themselves after encountering unexpected results. This resilience is why INTJs often succeed in fields that require long-term strategy, innovation, and intellectual endurance. The AI also noticed something shocking about INTJ independence. It discovered that INTJs don't actually want to be alone all the time, they simply refuse to be dependent. Their solitude is not a preference, it's a protective mechanism. They retreat because it ensures they maintain clarity, autonomy, and internal order. When they finally meet someone who respects that inner architecture, they allow themselves to be known in ways that surprise even them. I call this the controlled openness threshold, a rare state where the INTJ feels safe enough to reveal vulnerability without fear of disruption. In one of the final analyses, AI examined how INTJs perceive meaning. While other personality types search for belonging, emotional harmony, or sensory fulfillment, INTJs search for alignment. They need their actions to match their values, their work to match their potential, and their relationships to match their vision for the future. When misaligned, they feel restless, disconnected, or unfulfilled. I labeled this existential incongruence, a state that INTJs experience more often than they admit. It's why they change careers abruptly, end stagnant relationships, or reinvent themselves without warning. They're not being dramatic, they're correcting the trajectory. The AI concluded with its most profound observation. INTJs are not masterminds because they're brilliant. They're masterminds because they're builders of ideas, systems, futures, and identities. Their minds operate on levels that even they don't always understand, and their internal world is richer than their external expression suggests. The AI stated that INTJs represent a paradox of human cognition: emotionally deep yet externally calm, visionary yet practical, independent yet secretly longing for someone who understands their blueprint. And for the first time, the INTJ wasn't defined by stereotypes, misunderstandings, or human bias. It was seen clearly, logically, and without distortion. So the next time someone calls an INTJ cold, detached, mysterious, or overly strategic, remember what the AI discovered. INTJs aren't distant. They're focused. They're not unemotional. They're internally processing. They're not disconnected. They're discerning. And they're not complicated in a chaotic way, they're complex in a beautifully structured one. When AI decoded the INTJ, it didn't find a puzzle. It found a masterpiece. If you learned something new about the INTJ mind today, hit that like button, subscribe for more deep psychological breakdowns, and share this with the INTJ in your life. Because now that AI has revealed the truth, understanding them just became a whole lot easier.